Hello there. We are going to the dogs again. Welcome to the Wednesday Drawing Show. It is March the 17th, 2021. I'm aware that my eyes are kind of going a little bit wobbly because I kind of look down onto the screen because I can't remember what day it is. We are still in lockdown. And we have Judy with us. So I'm going to go over to Judy and say, hi there, Judy. You're on Judy Cam.
I'm on
and I'm on
Judy
Shooby Doodle Cam now. And you say that you've been locked down for a year now.
It was a year last night that I last went out. I had some supper at a friend's house and came back and parked and haven't moved from my house since.
Goodness. Oh my goodness.
The weirdest thing is it doesn't feel weird, which is really weird.
I know what you mean. We kind of got used to it, haven't we? I went shopping this morning. I walked down to Lidl. I know, and I thought this isn't right. and I was in the middle of Lidl, and I had my mask on, and I knew I had my mask on. I could see my mask. I think, have I got my mask on? Have I got my mask on? I'm just looking. I can see I've been fiddling with microphones, and I'm just going to turn them down a little bit. So, I know what the problem is. I haven't got that. That's on mic, and we should. I'm just checking. Phantom Power, channel 2, and it is on, isn't it? Yes, good. So that should be a bit better. There we are. Not quite so loud. There we are.
Am I over bright? Are you able to?
No, but you've stopped being pixelated, which is a good thing.
Yeah, haven't I? If I just don't move.
You were a little bit fuzzy a little while back. So, we have got Crispin Dry says, I've just got in for getting my jab. Yay! Well done. And Gabriel says, hello all. We're a little bit slow on the chat today. I've put a little question on there saying, so think of some emotions or expressions. Oh, top drawer. 2 drawer with dog characters. That's why you don't know what I'm going on about. I'm saying sort of 2 drawer, not top drawer. You don't want to, like, top drawer is like top drawer, top drawer.
Going into a western. Now there's a good dog character.
And Irina Mogaya, hello, how are you? Yeah, I noticed you've been posting dogs on Instagram. Octavia B, hello. We're getting the same. We're getting the same crew coming back every day, aren't we, Judy? I think
we are. Well, that's nice.
It's like a little club, isn't it? Yeah. It's like we've got a little club going. But if you've just joined and you've not seen the Wednesday Drawing Show before, this doesn't feel like much drawing at the moment. But you are very, very welcome, and I'm here every day this week. I'm going to have Saturday and Sunday off. I've decided. I think. I started out with this project at the 1st of March to do 25 dogs. And it seemed very doable at the time. And asking people to send me pictures of their dogs and kind of descriptions of their dogs and why they might be social media influencers and sort of have a big following on social media. And I'm calling them dogs of influence. And various people have been sending them to me, and I have been drawing dogs for the last week. Where are they gone? Hang on, I could. It's been a funny day today. Well, it's the whole thing. It's been a funny week altogether. Here we are. I'm trying to find these dogs of influence, and I'm going to go over to the overhead camera. We can still see you because it's Wednesday Drawing Show. And so we had the marvellous Miss Mavis. I met Rotcula, who thinks he's a vampire. Miss Opaline, who has this magic eye who can spot sort of food at 1,000 paces. And Sunny, who is just sunny and happy and spreads sunshine. And Hunter, who is... You didn't spot there was a leg there missing, did you? And can you remember Miss? No, this was Padme, wasn't it? I should have that written there, shouldn't I? I'm pretty sure it was Padme. Gabriel will tell me if I got that wrong. And Dandelion, who kind of got quite
little
a bit of
legs.
dachshund in there, and is a little embarrassed by the shortness of the legs. Dark Lightning, who is just faster than White Lightning. And the backpack beast, also Scout, who is blind, which was quite an interesting story there. And Mac, who thinks he's a circus performer. This is Marlena, who's a beagle, who thinks she's a jungle explorer and biologist extraordinaire. And these are all sorts of other sort of sketches. Oh my goodness, I'm trying to remember. I haven't written the name. Do you remember, Judy? This was the French bulldog called...
Oh, I should.
Yeah, sorry.
No.
And then this is Marlena again, and this is Marlena again, and this is Marlena again, because on Saturday last week, on Patreon, I was doing Zoom tutorials, and we had in the morning a group who were sort of doing this and sort of following along and chat and stuff like that. And in the afternoon, we had another group following along. So in the morning, if you're kind of Australia and that kind of way, sort of east of London, that would kind of suit most people east of London. And the afternoon session is kind of for morning folks in the USA who kind of join us. And then this is Noodle, who is a Springer doodle, and
I saw you've got a photo on your Facebook page with you and Noodle as a puppy.
Oh yeah, Noodle was
that
gorgeous.
June last year?
Probably, yeah, I think so.
Somewhere around there.
And then this is Spanky, who we're calling Big Ben. That's the Big Ben is the Instagram handle, but really known as Spanky. And then this is a little kitten who we might come to another day. I'll just leave you with that little moment of mystery. And so we've been doing all these drawings, and the ultimate idea is that I have. Do you recognise this book, Judy?
I do. Am I allowed to reveal that I have seen one in the real paper? I have one.
I believe one appeared in your postbox this morning.
I found Walker and the Missing Millions in my postbox.
There you are. I think you're probably the first person in the country to get one. Well, apart from
It's fantastic. Thank you so much. It was a wonderful surprise. Yeah.
Good. So this book is due out on the 25th of this month. And this is what I'm leading up to, is publication day. And this is about Walker. This is the first book, Walker, the boy who can talk to dogs. And so obviously it's all about dogs. This is my reading copy that I take into school. So I haven't looked inside. So when I'm reading it out, I kind of leave bits out because it kind of flows better when you're kind of performing it. So that's all cut out. So I go from here to there, and I've become quite adept at. In fact, some pages I think I've actually taped together. I think so that I know I can. I seem to remember there were pages taped together. So up at the top there, I think. Did I see? Yeah, these pages here are taped together. Up at the top, so I can flip from one to the start, walk, run, throw, stick.
So do you go through the whole book when you?
No, I just go up to this point where
leave them guessing.
I leave them guessing, yeah, and where this is the horrible Arlington wherewithal, and his gamekeeper blocked their path, and he's boo hiss, and he's been really nasty to him, etc. And it's, what are you doing on my land, boy? That kind of thing. And so he says, get off my land. So off they do. They sort of disappear, and they come out back into this big field. And I come to this bit where I say, for a moment, Walker thought that. Oh yes, that's right. And so he could feel Arlington's frosty stare boring into his back. He only felt safe again when they broke through the edge of the trees and felt the freeing sunshine of Foxley Fields shine down upon them. I need a poo, said Stella. For For a moment, Walker thought he'd just heard Stella say she needed a poo. He stared at her and frowned. Had Arlington wherewithal freaked him out so much he'd started hearing things?
Yes.
Stella was busy. She stared at him in a cross-eyed sort of way. She was doing a poo on the grass. She bounced up, turned around and sniffed her work. "You better bag that up," she said. Walker let his mouth hang wide open in astonishment. "Stella, you can talk!" And then I snapped the book closed.
Aha.
And if you want to know what happens, you're going to have to get your own copy.
Right.
And then 30 to 100 kids go, "No!" So then I look at their teacher and say, "I think you're going to have to buy 10 class copies, aren't you?" So, yeah. So that's what I'm doing. So right at the moment, this isn't much about drawing at all, is it? So right at the moment, I'm kind of planning book 3, in which I'm imagining there are going to be a collection of dogs who are dogs of influence. They're going to be Instagram kind of dogs. And that's what I've asked people to sort of send me their dogs to be able to sort of convert them into characters. So basically, so I don't have to think them up myself. And that's what people have been doing. I asked in the thing. I can't find my glasses now. That's the problem. I think they're over here. Yeah. Oh, it's always just I think I've got everything ready, and then 5 minutes to go. I think I just need to dash in and make sure I got a cup of tea, and I put my glasses down somewhere else. And so I asked. Let's go back to the thing. Has anybody come up with any?
We're wondering about hunger as an emotion. I wasn't sure if it was just cats, but I suspect dogs are the same.
Cats. Cats are terrible. I think our cat seems to have forgotten. He's lost something that tells him that he had something to eat 10 minutes ago.
Yes. And it's that look of rescue me, I'm being starved, I haven't eaten for 5 minutes.
Absolutely. So Octavia B says, hey, we got a little community now. We have, haven't we? So Spring Gammon, good morning. First time here. Hello. We haven't seen that name before. Hello to you. Gabriel says, Black Mate. Yes, I know it. Yeah. Milena is so cute, says Karina. Hi, Karina. And Karina says the name is Gus. Do you know, I'm just going to write that down because I know that if I don't, I'll do this again. Except now I can't find the actual drawing. Now we've lost Gus altogether. Oh, there he is. I've left him behind. There we are. So if I just do that. So here was Gus, and I'm just going to put Gus. There we are. So I remember next time. Come back to here.
Don't have a list.
So what have we got here? Woo Julie says Mystery Kitty. We'll keep that kitty a mystery. As Julie says, it's hunger and emotion. I think so. Dogs know how to communicate that particular feeling. And Judy says, Judy, your first thought was hunger. Yeah. Gabriel says one emotion could be fear due to storms. It's storming something terrible here. I gather I saw on the news. I think there's tornadoes heading sort of in the southern half of America, isn't it? And sort of Texas and places. Oh, David, be scared, happy, surprised. Jane Carroll says hi, and Spring comes says curiosity. And Sharon CR, hello, been missing the shows. Well, you're not missing it today. So let's go back to the overhead camera. And we've got to pick a dog, Judy. Pick a dog, any dog.
Oh, heavens, that's so...
Pick a dog. Pick a dog, remember it, and then take away the first one.
Yes.
And then,
then
then add it to the third one.
It's got to be Noodle.
It's going to be Noodle, do it? Okay, let's have a look at Noodle. Let's bring Noodle in here. So we're going to what I'm going to try and do. So for one thing, I'm going to be doing this in grayscale because that's what's in the books. So these are painted in grayscale, as you can see. So I don't have to think about colour, which is good. And I'll zoom this in a little bit like that. And so I'm thinking, Noodle. I just hear myself a bit in the background there, Judy.
Ah,
Um, but anyway, yeah. So
is that?
let's
Oh,
say Noodle's a
I
bit
need a
scared.
earwiggy,
So
don't I?
can I have Noodle just sort of in about there? So I'm thinking we got this. So there's going to be a thunderstorm, and somehow we got to get sort of paws over the ears like that, and we can have the ears down about like that, I should think, and then we can have the bottom stuck up in the air like that, I think, and maybe see a bit of leg on the other side, and then a little kind of quivering, quite a bit of quivering going on, I should think. So you're going to see very scared eyes, and
Oh,
want to kind of bring that nose sort of forward to about there. And Noodle is all about this kind of great big moustache kind of thing. You can just see her in there. And so if we kind of do something like that, and she's going to be going, "Ugh." So we need a kind of something like that, and then the ears are going to be in there somewhere. And this is where it gets really difficult, because we need to have the paws sort of like that, I think, somehow. And from that, then I will get some layout paper and stick that over the top. So I'll be showing this all week. It's a Seawhite of Brighton layout paper. It's 50 grams per square inch, so it's really, really thin. There are links below, and if you're in America, you can't get it, so I can't get Seawhite, but I put a link
so there.
to, I think it was Sanford, I think it is, but I haven't tried that, but it'll be the same. And you're not terribly worried about the quality of your layout paper.
Is that
It's
very
the
different to
thinness, really.
tracing?
Tracing paper is
Very
very
different to
different.
tracing paper.
Yeah,
Right.
and the tracing paper is much kind of smoother and far more transparent. And layout paper, you're still getting that kind of tooth for a pencil that it'll be different
Right.
on tracing paper. Tracing paper always feels a little bit more waxy, doesn't it? I think.
Yeah.
So, and we want these eyebrows as well. So I think you're going to want those eyebrows in there, and that'll be something like that. So this is kind of phase 2. I was watching something. I was watching Jazza this morning. If you've ever watched Jazza Draws, and he was because he was doing a thing about making T-shirts, and so I've now got a Teespring store, which you'll see down below. I've got my Everyone Can Draw
Oh,
copy
yes, yes,
PDF
yes,
that you
yes.
can buy, and there's a mug now,
Oh,
which I haven't got one yet.
wow.
I'm waiting. I'm waiting for one to
Oh,
arrive. But anyway, and yeah, so they kind of recommended this video by Jazza. And what was I thinking? Why was I going to talk about that? Because he was talking about t-shirt design and stuff like that, and iteration. That's what he was talking about. And he was saying, your first design is great and it's in your head and it's brilliant and everything, but you can make it better. You just keep working at it, keep working and iterate, and it will get better and more simple. You want something simple and grab you on a t-shirt design, and similarly with sort of illustrations and characters, you need to iterate and sort of keep working at them. So I think that's just about. I'm wondering whether to have another leg sort of spread out over there somewhere. I'm not quite sure. And then we're going to have sort of we want that's somehow making Noodle look too old, and I think it's in the placement of the eyes, which probably need to be. So we got that, and so this is where it all starts coming into this sort of character creation. It's one thing working out what a dog looks like. It's getting that character and expression. It's quite. I think if I bring that down a little bit there and get the eyes more down there, and we need those bits there. I think that's getting a bit better. I'm not happy with this arm on that side. That is a really difficult thing to draw, and I think maybe more up that way. And then if I get some paper and I get my I'm in a complete muddle here. So this is this is my light pad here, and I'm going to get that. It does get sort of confusing with lots of different bits of paper here and there, and I'm just going to use cartridge paper today, which I think in the States you don't call it cartridge paper. I think you call it Bristol paper, but we call Bristol paper something quite different. Our Bristol paper is much smoother surface, and so I'm just going to go for this and see what happens. And so this is kind of the speed that I would draw as well generally. I'll bring that sort of up there.
Gabriel says he's sharing Noodle's body language at the moment.
Well, if it's
Scary.
any help, Gabriel, today is a kind of a magical day, I think, because we have a famous horse racing meeting going on not far from where I live, in Cheltenham. So it's the Cheltenham Gold Cup started today, and I always somehow associate this day with kind of the first lovely warm day of the year, and that's kind of what we're experiencing here. So it's kind of nice outside. So we are not experiencing thunderstorms and tornadoes, thank heavens. We have sort of benign sunshine and birds twittering. And have you got that, Judy?
Yeah, absolutely. Lovely blue sky with a few scudding clouds.
Yeah, and it kind of that's why you're thinking, yeah, it's just a year's gone by.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like Rumpelstiltskin. I just woke up.
So we need some kind of wobbles in there as well, and sort of maybe you can see, through the windows somewhere. Oh, this is a last thought. So again, if I did this, I'd have to redo this.
Crash.
But we got. We want that to be on that side there, and I made that too smooth. So it's I'm gonna. You see, I'm not happy. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do that, take that away, and do another version, because this is what you do: is iteration, and just sort of keep working it. So it's not kind of fluffy enough, I don't think. I haven't quite got that sort of fluffiness around there, and
That's better.
get that nose, and you kind of make it's I think what it is, I know Karina, who's watching, she's kind of really kind of interested in doing fast, loose drawing in a kind of Quentin Blakey kind of style, and I'm doing this fast, and I'm doing I'm being fast and loose, Judy. So,
We won't tell.
so and that it doesn't come easily, and 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 you know, if you're going to do something really really fast, you're going to make mistakes, and you've got to be prepared to throw things away and and start again. And I think that's kind of one of the secrets of sort of doing fast, loose kind of drawing, and you do need to do it at a kind of speed to get that kind of fastness look to it.
But
You
you
can't.
you draw quite fast, when we were trying to follow you on Saturday, it
Yeah,
seemed to be ever so fast. I was
and that's while I'm in my slow tutorial mode.
yes.
I'm getting
That's
better.
for
I think I'm getting
amateurs.
better at slowing down
Yeah.
because
I
I'm kind
have
of
to,
I've not really done tutorials like that before, so I'm kind of learning myself at the pace to go.
I
So
was
that's kind of
muttering.
okay then.
Luckily, I was on mute, but I was definitely muttering.
I noticed you were on mute.
Yeah.
Okay, so oh, that is really really bright. I'm going to put this blind down
Yeah.
because this. You see, the sun is shining here, Gabriel.
Mm.
It's beautiful sunshine. The frogs have been spawning in my pond outside last night.
Oh,
I've
exciting.
got a pond full of frog spawn. I
My
can
frog's
tuck them into.
vanished. I don't know where he's gone. I'm hoping he'll come back.
You should have a few. I think you think you've only got one, and then like I had
He
we
lives
had the
in the
beast from the
drain.
east. Ah, when we had the beast from the east 2 or 3 years ago, and the pond froze over. A whole lot of my frogs died, and I found in my
I
tiny little
remember
pond
that.
I had about 50 dead frogs in. Are they there all the
Oh,
time? I don't know.
wow.
This is neutral tint, and it's in a tube. I don't usually use anything from a tube,
Oh,
but I thought I would just do this so that it doesn't you don't get confused by thinking, is he mixing that from getting that from what colours is he mixing there? If I was using this, well, this one hasn't got neutral tint. But if I was using a palette like this, you'd be going, well, what colour are you using? I'm using one colour here, and it's called neutral tint. It's a Winsor & Newton. This is Daler Rowney neutral tint. Oh, that's interesting. I usually use Winsor & Newton.
and does that, when you're doing grayscale, when you know you're just using the one colour, does that
That's the one
help
colour.
to use it from a tube because you can
Not
mix up much more?
particularly. Not
Okay.
particularly. No, it's just that I thought I could just have this one thing there and not confuse the issue while I'm doing this. So I'm using a water brush. This is an Aquash Pentel Aquash water brush. All the links are down below. Okay, and the water is in the handle and it flows through the brush. So this is not like a normal brush. So maybe I'll do another one with a normal brush afterwards. A neutral tint is a kind of a bluey grey. And I'm mixing, and I'm squeezing a little bit to let water out of the barrel through the brush to thin it down, because I don't want it too strong to start off. So I'll do that again and thin it down even more with more water. And I'm going to just basically do a coat here. And I'm doing this on cartridge paper again, but because that's what I generally use. This is going to ruckle up because I haven't stretched it. But I think now, I might use, I've started using the Seawhite watercolour paper. And I've been using this paper also particularly to be able to scan. So now I'm getting a little bit more. So it's going to be a little bit darker. That's too much. So I've got an old tissue here for the kitchen towel. I'm just going to clean the brush off there a bit more because that's just a bit too much. And I'm just kind of tickling in while it's wet. That's too much again. And this is actually chromatographizing. Can you see? Can you see different colours in here? There's some pinks and there's some blues, which I wouldn't normally get with the Winsor and Newton one. So you could. There are other colours that you can use, like this Davies Grey is another colour that works. And
yeah, I've got that. That's quite nice, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's a very similar kind of thing. It works. Yeah. It's a bit more sort of dove grey, isn't it? That Davies Grey.
I find neutral tint always comes up too dark. Sorry.
Yeah, that's all about adding more water.
That's when I squeeze my brush too hard and it all goes.
Yeah. Yeah. And with a water brush, I think there's quite a lot of it's about brush it's a very different kind of brush control than if you're using a traditional brush. So here I'm nowhere near the barrel. I'm holding it there, so there's no squeezing going on, and it's all just gravity and capillary action. The water is just sort of pouring down, and I think I could probably leave that. So I'll just put some shade in. Yeah, so I would have. The reason I'd have done this in this paper before. So I mean, there's a lot of technical things that I've sort of learned over the years. It's because I wanted a really smooth paper to scan, so that you don't get the texture of the paper coming up. And if you use a traditional watercolor paper, it has that little kind of dimple effect, and then you get that in the scan. But now I've got a new scanner. You see, that has changed everything. I've considerably upgraded my scanner to a sort of more high-end quality scanner, and so when I use watercolor paper now, I don't get that sort of paper texture coming up, which seems gets in the way normally. So if that makes any sense.
It does. If you try to remove the background, it takes out any light bits in your drawing as well, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Which is bizarre.
Yeah.
Gabriel was asking. Oh, go on. Sorry.
No, you carry on.
Gabriel was asking, are you painting at a slight slant?
No, I'm not. and if I was working without everybody watching and without cameras overhead, I would be working at a slight slant. But if I did that, then the drawing would look quite distorted in the camera, or I'd have to have the camera pointing at a weird angle that would be really uncomfortable to work underneath. So I'm leaving a little bit of white in the nose there. For the shininess, and again, it's I always find myself repeating things and thinking, oh, here I go again. But I think it's something that you can't repeat enough with watercolor to explain that all the light is coming from the paper, and that what you're doing is oh, that's too much. So I'm cleaning the brush and just kind of washing that away because that was too much. So the light is coming from the paper, and all I'm doing is putting these very thin, sort of transparent glazes of grey over the top, and that's too much. So that's too dark. And so the shiny bit on the nose, you want to be as white as possible because that's the light being reflected, and so you leave the white of the paper and sort of leave a little circle of white or shape of white there. And now it's really just sort of teasing in the woolliness of the fur. and then I need to sort of make it a bit darker behind the head there, behind the top of the head, to sort of bring the head forward. And it's playing with it, really, just making it up as you go along, really. And just
That
getting
really
that
looks
kind of,
like the tight curliness.
yeah. And then that's the brush again, and I kind of really love this brush, and and you can get a set where there's a thin one and a flat one, and I think there's another shape as well. I can't remember, but I only ever use this one brush, and you can get a really sharp point to it. But I've learned to use it. Sometimes I sort of use it on the side to get a big broad sort of shape, and then sometimes use a very sort of thin point on the top, and then you can just sort of get random kind of shapes with the point. And the more you use a brush, the more you use any tool, the more you get to know it and its sort of funny little ways, and you sort of get to work with it, and it gets to work with you.
Is that the broad or the medium? Because they do a fine. And does it have a number just where you're holding it? Does it have a 5 on it?
It has a number on there. It says 6.
6. Right.
8? Or is it an 8 even? There's a tiny little number there. Okay. Oh, sorry.
I think mine says 5. Yeah.
I can't see another number on it.
Because I need to get a new one, but I don't know. Right, broad. That's what I want.
The broad is definitely it.
Yeah.
And now I'm using very fine, just the tip of the brush to sort of get those little bits there. And now I can use some quite a lot darker. Whoa, that's quite a lot darker, isn't it? And I think, I'm not quite sure. I know, has Nikki joined us from New Zealand?
Not yet.
Not yet. No, cause
not yet.
It's very early in the morning. Sometimes she joins us, and she was asking me about nighttime drawing, drawing night illustrations and things like that, and about fireflies. And have you ever seen fireflies, Judy?
No, not real, not in life.
No, and I kind of imagine them as these magical kind of things. I don't really believe they exist because I have never seen them. And as you see, how would you draw fireflies? And I think if I was doing this as an illustration and I had to draw little kind of, and I'm imagining they're not just specks of light like stars. I imagine they're more floaty and a bit more soft. I think I would do those in Photoshop because you can. And this is one thing, I'm not doing pictures to stick in frames. So you can, and once I've done an illustration, it goes into a folder and it goes up in the attic and never gets seen again for 20 years. And it's not intended, to be stuck on a wall. And so I'm not trying to do some incredible, fantastic technique for fireflies. So I would think, I got a job to do. How am I going to do these fireflies? Bang them in on Photoshop. So, which is, some people would say it's cheating. I don't know, but it's if you're an illustrator, it's like any other. You've
got to work fast, haven't you?
You got to work fast. Yeah, because if you take days over painting, it's just not. You're not going to make any money on it. And it's a business, and you got to earn a living. So that's my first version of.
Oh, that's lovely.
Noodle, terrified with the. Then it might sort of do something in the background and.
Do you think his teeth are chattering as well as?
I think so. Shaking? Yes, probably. And again, it's. I probably need to do something with that, just to kind of bring the teeth out somehow. But I think I probably have to do quite a lot more drawing just to think, how am I going to get those teeth look like they're shattering and get some movement in there. I think, it's a difficult one to do in just off the top of your head. And
you've got the pores over the eyes.
Yeah, or almost. Yeah. Have you got any other chat going on?
Noodle. Oh, we're talking about fireflies. We are huge sympathy that we haven't got any in Britain. I don't think we have them. Do we have them? Scotland?
I do think they are somewhere. I got a feeling you might get them in Scotland. I don't know.
Yeah, I shall report back in a year or so.
Oh, how is rugby? How is rugby? Yes, and Karen says he has some accident-related issues that all are fixable. Karen and rugby. That's Sunny, the character, had a bit of an accident in the car. An RTI, road traffic incident. So Karen says, is Shoo using neutral tint? Yes, I am. I'm not using my usual neutral tint, and so this has been sat in my drawer for quite some time. It's almost dried out, and I think the reason it's sat in the drawer is this doesn't work quite the same way as the Winsor & Newton one that I like best. This is the Daily Rowney one. And no fireflies in Britain. That's too bad. They are magical. I saw a video of fireflies the other day on Instagram or something. It was like, oh, wow. Spring gammon, they are amazingly magical. We used to catch them in jars. I mean, that is just a fantastic idea. Is just to have a jar full of.
Who needs electricity?
Yeah, I was going to say there's got to be a story in there. I'm sure there must be children's stories about jars full of fireflies.
And lighting your way through the woods, carrying a jar of fireflies.
It's a bit Lord of the Rings, isn't it? And sort of wandering through Galadriel with a little jar of fireflies. But they would just follow around you and light your way, wouldn't they?
Yes.
Cynthia Chitty, I'm from Pennsylvania, and we have them here. They are delightfully magical, I'm sure. Julie said, my mind is blown. I had no idea fireflies, lightning bugs were regional. Yeah. And I don't know. I think we do get them here, but nothing that I have seen. So how are we doing for time? Shall I do something really, really quick? We go to the overhead. So I get a simpler dog. I think. Excuse me. Someone a little bit simpler. Lightning. Sorry.
Oh dear.
I'm going to zoom out.
You're
so
right.
let's take lightning. And what was that one about food?
Well, a lot of people have come on saying, what about hunger?
What about
as
hunger?
An emotion?
So I'm going to think.
That would be a really good one.
Dark lightning is a lurcher. And I think we just want a kind of a glum expression, really, don't we? And ears up, kind of like that. And I think they've got to be absolutely looking at you, I think. And then, and weak-legged, probably as well, and sort of thin, with a sort of dangling tail, even perhaps, in fact, maybe pointing.
Oh, yes.
This doesn't look right, does it? But we'll see how that works. Looking really, really thin, sort of dangling tail. just looking a bit pathetic, really,
Oh,
because it's
not eaten for
they're not
minutes.
really hungry at all, are they? I mean, they've only just been fed. Any dog that looks hungry has really only just been fed about 5 minutes before. They're just trying it on. Just a little bit more. Please, sir, can I have some more?
Can't survive on that dishful.
That was just the tiniest little.
Just a starter.
I think we need sort of very big eyes, don't we? And sort of pleading. There's no reason you have to have the eyebrows on the dog.
Okay.
Sort of take the eyebrow kind of off the body, if like that, you know. So it's because it's a character, it's a sort of cartoony thing. And so we had Lightning has this carpal pad. And then somehow we got to get this to look like it might be right. I don't think a dog can do this, can they? I don't know. Little
pointer.
I think that might sort of comes that way. I think sort of it should be a pointer. You're right. It should have been.
Yes.
But if Hunter had tried to do this, Hunter has 3 legs, and if Hunter had lifted one leg off the
no.
ground, there might be a bit of a problem there.
Yeah.
So I think you've got to make the tail go a little bit kind of crinkly.
Sad.
And little claws on the end, and we got this like that. It's a bit of a cheat actually, because we've already got this all mostly in neutral tint, haven't we? And I'm going to just do that. Maybe it's me subliminally thinking, how am I going to do this? So I'll just get a hairdryer onto that, just to make sure it's dry, because I always say, when you are absolutely sure that the ink is dry, then you can erase the pencil lines. But I always make sure by giving a bit of a hairdry beforehand to dry the ink to make sure. I'm also thinking that we probably need
an empty bowl.
An empty bowl, and we have on there, and some quick bit of that going on. And there was something else I just thought about. I'm just going to do this nose, make that a little bit more easy just by inking that. Oh, I just went over it.
No,
make the nose bigger. Here, look, iterate. Here we are. There we go. That's the way you do it. And I'm going to use my neutral tint, see if there is actually a difference. So this one in the corner here is my neutral tint. That's where I keep it. And so we want to have a nice sort of pale. Oh, hang on. I'll just dry that nose, because that might still be dry. So I'm cleaning my brush to make sure that it's just water coming out. So I'm just painting water there at the moment. And then I'm going to get some neutral tint, start around about there. And then we'll get that kind of grey muzzle there. And I think I'm going to leave the inner ear parts. Hang on, no, that'll be all right. Don't worry. I can get around that. I think it's another thing is when you're sort of doing things really quickly. I think over the years you kind of learn little things, and it's this thinking ahead and having gone over the top there. I'm thinking ahead. No, I can handle that later. Don't worry. And I think it's very easy to go, oh my goodness, I made a mistake, I'm going to start all over again. But just keep going, and it's amazing with watercolor painting in anything, and the drawing is, if you make a mistake, just keep going, and somehow at the end it all pulls together. It's like putting on a show. It's always a complete mess until the curtains go up, and then suddenly out of nowhere it just magically kind of comes together. So I'm just going to put a little bit of extra.
And it changes as it dries anyway.
And it changes as it dries. Exactly. So so I'm thinking, what I would normally want to do here is to have a little bit of sort of white there here. So I'm leaving a little bit of white, and then I'm cleaning the brush, getting all the grey off it, and then just letting it sort of float or flood down with clean water. And that, I think I kind of saved that. And then I want that to be lighter under the ears there. That will want to be darker in the mouth, quite a bit darker, and maybe the lips there. And then we got the collar. It's all about. See, that's too dark, but I clean the brush, add fresh water, and sort of thin it down. And again, that's too dark. Clean the brush, and then that's the thing about the water brush. Is because it keeps flowing. The colour or the tone will get lighter as you go, as it thins out, as more water is added. And that's something about using the same tool every day, and just using it, and you just get to know its little ways, so that you don't have to think about it. You just think, oh, I can do that because it's going to do that, so I can do that.
It's practice.
Practice. I've gone over the lightning flash. So a quick dab with a kitchen towel, and you can take off some of that. And I'm going to do that.
Do you know, that's one reason why I have to get out in the world again. It's because I'm running out of paper serviettes from the cafes. I always used to take one with my coffee. I've nearly used up now after a year.
Yeah, I come away from a day out. I come away with my pockets full of serviettes, which all look like this. Look, it's disgusting. And the worst bit, I've said many times before, the worst bit is when you have to sneeze, and that's all you have.
Oh no!
And you pull that out, and people go, "Oh my God, what have you got there?"
Especially if you've been painting in red.
Exactly. And they think, have you been vaccinated for that?
Yes.
Can you get a vaccine for that? So, and I think maybe we need a little bit of
Oh, feed me.
Oh, feed me marks. I always say to kids, what does that? What do these marks mean? And they go, oh, it means this and it means that, and they come up with lots of fantastic, meanings for these marks. And I said, but how do you know that? And then they just look blank. Nobody taught you. Nobody told you. And and you go to school for years and years and years. You learn A, B, C, D, and you're forced to do your A's and your B's, and you learn to make these shapes. You do these marks instinctively, and you read these marks instinctively. It's a whole language, and those marks mean something completely different if there's a different expression on the dog's face, and it's the expression, the body language, and everything mixed with those marks becomes a language. So it's kind of a language of emotion in a way.
Yeah.
That sort of thing. So there we go. So that was a quick one. That was only
Take a breath and tell everybody about Patreon.
Tell everybody about Patreon. Shall I press that Patreon button for a start?
That's the one.
If you enjoy these shows and you'd like to buy me a cup of coffee to keep me going, head on over to patreon.com/Shoo Rayner, where you will find all the details of how you can support this channel. In the meantime, on with the show. Indeed, on with the show. I'm thinking I really need to do a new version of that, because I think that's telling you about a different kind of Patreon to what it really is now, isn't it? Because Patreon has become much more of a kind of a community thing, hasn't it now? It is about helping me to support the channel to keep going, but I know some people think Patreon is kind of another social media kind of platform, but it isn't. And it's a way that you can support patrons. You have a patron, Judy.
I do. I've actually got two at the moment. I'm a Gemini, so it goes without saying.
I used to have a little thing here with your patron on it, but I haven't. No. But I think when it first started, it was just help keep these YouTubers going, and help support them so they can do it full time. But it's become much more of a community kind of thing now, and let me see. I know I got a new I got a new patron last night. I can tell you how many I have. I now have.
Are you up to 96?
I'm up to 96 patrons now. So 4 more patrons, and I will have 100.
There's got to be 4 more.
I'm looking at you guys out there. And I know we got quite a few of my patrons are watching and chatting away. So I do YouTube videos and everything, but then I kind of put extra bits on. So if I do a drawing video, then I'll add watercolor on the end for patrons, and I'll show you and help sheets, sort of cheat sheets, stuff like that. And then on every other weekend, I've started doing Zoom tutorials where we all get together and go through something. And not this weekend, but next weekend I'm going to be doing a watercolor 101, starting off by saying, this is a piece of paper, this is a box of paints, this is a brush. Let's see what we can do with it, and just start absolutely from zero. So you could come and join us if if you've always wanted to, just been hesitant about watercolor. You could come and join us and do that. Patreon.com/Shoo Rayner. Very simple. All the links are down below. Have I said enough about that, Judy?
Yes.
And then
I just remembered to click on like. I nearly forgot.
Where are we now? We got quite a lot of chat going on there.
Arturo's got a lovely
Chris Madry says we have proper robins. We do, don't we?
Yes, we've had a bit of a discussion about it.
I have
British versus American.
Tweedle around outside me in the garden here, outside my window. I have robins. In fact, I have robins come. I've got a little feeder on my window, and I have robins come to that. And last year, was it the year before? Then I had a pair of baby robins, having fledged, coming onto the window. Before they got any red breast or anything, they would come to the window and sort of sit there and eat. Yeah. So, what's the dog thinking? Says Divesh Toma. Hi, Divesh. The dog's thinking, oh, I need to be fed. I need food. Marilise Aguilon says, the dog is thinking about the food. It's empty. Yeah. Where else are we? Shy artist. I'm Saudi girl. I love your drawing because it's similar to animation. Yeah. And I think it's trying to animate without moving, if you know what I mean. Does that make sense, Judy?
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. Oh, it comes
I,
back
I
to the marks again as well, doesn't
yeah,
it?
and I think I've done animation, and it is you have to be a
Mm.
certain kind of person that does animation. It requires a huge amount of patience that I don't really have, and so I suppose that I try to animate with all those little marks and things, and the speed of the drawing as well, to just kind of get a movement into it. I suppose that's kind of what I try to do.
Mm.
Um, So Lean SH says, "Wow, I only want to draw like that." You practice, practice, practice. Shuriando, beautiful drawing. I enjoy the process. Thank you. Arturo says, "I love the way your tissue looks after a session of watercolour full of different colours." I always think that's where the art lives. I know what you mean.
That's lovely.
Artist smiles. Crispin, I think the bowl could get the same marks to emphasise its emptiness. I think maybe you are right. Oh, there we go. So we get a little bit of ping, 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 ping. And I think, again, that's kind of,
Yes.
it's a kind of process, isn't it? And I think if I was sat here on my own, not having to think about talking, I may well have done that. But because I'm talking, I'm thinking, oh, I need to get on, need to press this button, this button, sort of forget that bit. And so, Arturo, you come in like as an editor. And, you know, when it comes to creating a book, for artwork, you have to be prepared that an editor will come back to you and say, can you add this? Can you add that? Or this isn't really quite working. You know, what if we did this and what if we did that? And, you know, you have to be prepared to sort of chop and change a little bit and iterate, I guess. And usually there is a reason, you know, and usually editors are right. And they're trying to create something that, you know, they're trying to create the best book. And when you are working on it all on your own, you're really close to it, you don't see the wider picture, and that's what an editor brings. Christmas, I think, Karen Miller says, I love the Facebook patron community too. Yes, so there's a Facebook group as well, which I'm always too busy to go and look at. But I know I sort of dive in and go, oh my goodness, look, everybody's been doing all this, because I'm sort of thinking about what I'm doing next. And so I sort of come along and have a look, see what everybody's doing. But it's not all about me, is it? No, it's a community, so everybody's chatting and it's, you know, yeah, which is great. And so I sort of feel I should be there controlling, I should be in control, but
we do a lot of supporting each other.
It's
some great.
It's not all about me. And I think that's kind of a hard. It's a hard thing to learn, you know, and sort of doing the live stuff. I've been learning lots of new skills in this last year. I think pandemic has brought this on. So, and I think letting go has been a really difficult lesson and to think, you know, I'm not a teacher here up at the front saying you will do this. I'm saying, you know, here, look at that, and that everybody else has their own thoughts and ideas and what it is that they're wanting from it, and you know, sometimes go, oh, what's going on there, and then I have to stop and think, it's not about me. What is it they're trying? Oh right, oh I see, yeah, and then, you know, come in with a word of encouragement, or maybe try and sort of say, how about this, how about that, whatever. It's a different, yeah, it's very different to just. I've been sat in my shed here on my own for the past, I don't know how many years, and it's just really weird, you know, sort of, I mean, just having you here, Judy, is just weird. You know?
I know, well, obviously.
It's different, so, and it's great to have you here, Judy, thank you.
Thank
and it's very different.
But it is a different feel, isn't it?
And it's very different when I do the daily dog things, and I feel that's kind of, you know, that's something else. You know, it's kind of it's a series. When that's done, it's finished, and then we'll get to the Wednesday drawing show a bit more seriously, I think. But it's a different thing, isn't it, when
Mm.
you're here, and because I got my little thing here, and I can hear Judy in my ear going, mutter, mutter, mutter.
At least you know for certain somebody is listening. Which when you're doing the dog ones each day,
Yeah.
you don't actually know while you're drawing, do you?
No.
You could be sitting there on your own, and it must be
Exactly.
very
And
different.
then when I'm doing that, also in the chat, there's that 10-second delay, or 10-15-second
Yeah,
delay.
yeah.
And in fact, as I'm watching you on the screen here, the feed, the YouTube feed, you're 10-15 seconds behind, but I've got you live in my ear, so
Yes,
if I
yes, I've
say
got the
something wrong and you
same.
go, oh,
Yes.
I think, oh, I shouldn't have said that.
Too late.
Yeah. So, well, we've been here for an hour and 5 minutes now. So,
Time passes.
I think, as I say, there is a kind of a 10-15 second delay. So, if anybody has anything they'd like to say in the chat, now is your chance. Just give that little moment. Anything else you want to add, Judy?
Oh, here comes Jessie. My cat's just arrived, so it's obviously tea time.
Oh, there we are.
I've been watching a kite outside again, but I was going to turn the camera on, but it's gone. So
Yeah.
that's another
Fab.
day.
Beanie 2021 says hi, Shoo. Hi, Beanie 2021. And the red kites, they kind of got. They were almost going extinct in this country, weren't they? In the 70s, I think they got sort of released and looked after in mid Wales, and then there was a whole lot got released near High Wycombe.
Yes, you said,
by the motorway.
yeah.
And so my daughter lived in High Wycombe for a while, and these big, they're sort of 2 metre wide at least, aren't they? Wingspans. They're big birds of prey. They're not birds of prey. They're scavengers, aren't they?
Are they?
Are they? Because they live off dustbins and trash cans and stuff. And she lived, when she was at college, she was in an apartment block. So she was, I don't know, about sort of 3-4 floors up or something. And you'd be sitting in a window, and there were these kites just floating around outside in the middle of town. They were incredible. And they were released near the M4 motorway, M40 motorway, at Stokenchurch. And they have been moving slowly down the motorway system. So to get to you, where you are, they've gone down
on the M25
towards
probably,
London, and they've gone down the Marlow bypass to the M4.
And then down the M3.
And then they're going down the M3 and sort of come down towards you. And I saw one over here last year, so it was obviously just scouting.
So has that come from Wales to you then? Because you're quite near to Wales, aren't you?
I don't know. Something told me that it was an M4 one, actually, because that far from the M4. And they're also coming. So we've got the M4 and the M40. We're in between the two, so it could have been either way.
Right.
What have we got? Sard Artist says the channel owner has a nice personality. Well, thank you very much for that. I think Judy has too. Where are we? Crispin Dry, blah, 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 blah. Irina says bye. Oh, Gabriel says just amazing advice today. Great characters, thank you. And hunker down, Gabriel. Have you got one of those?
Yes. Good luck,
things
Gabriel.
Like in the Wizard of Oz, sort of a hurricane shelter in the garden that you can go and hide in. It sounds like you might need one. This is going to be a big storm, I think. Crispin Dry, jolly good show. Ta-ta for now. So, artists, I like the drawings on the wall. Yeah, there's a lot up on the wall.
Oh, yeah.
Pocket-sized wisdom. What a great name. Says, hi, I'm late. I guess pocket-sized wisdom.
Pocket-sized wisdom.
Late, I'm afraid. Because we are just about to say goodbye. It's been lovely chatting, Judy.
Yes, thank you, Shoo. Great show as always.
Yeah, and we got one more next week. It's Wednesday. Thursday, my book is published next, and then we can stop the dogs. And I have great plans for the Wednesday drawing show, and I think the Thursday after that the Wednesday after that, what am I talking about? We will start really working on the Wednesday drawing show, and we're going to be talking about something you're involved in, Judy.
Just a little something.
Yes, you've got a couple of weeks to get your story right.
I know. Well, this is the thing, isn't it?
Yeah, I can just see something behind you, in fact. Just
Yeah.
peeping in. It's a bit of a clue.
Just a bit of a clue there.
It's not the hot bath either, no.
Yes, no, ignore the ones up the top.
Yes. You always have to be careful what you've got in the background, don't you? Yeah.
I know. That's
Okay.
all my favourite things. That's happy things during the pandemic.
Gabriel says he hasn't got a cellar, just an inner room with sort of a wire cage all around it, and you can put one of those tinfoil hats on just in case the aliens come as well. Never mind. Okay, Octavia, goodbye everybody. Thank you, Shooter Judy. Goodbye everybody. Pocket Size Wizard, my class just ended and I saw you were live. Well, you can go back to the beginning and see what happened, because we
it all
are
again?
to say goodbye. And I'm going to press
Which way am I going?
button
I'm
now,
going that
Judy.
way.
So bye everybody. Thanks for watching.
Bye, everybody.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Well, thank you so much for watching, and make sure you click that little subscribe button, and when you do, ring the bell so that you get notifications of when I am going to go live next. You can come along and join in and bring your ideas as well. In the meantime, stay safe, keep well, and keep drawing. Practice, and I'll see you next time. You take care now. Bye.